Wow.
It is.
Now, a lot of people hear DACA and DACA, excuse me, and they don't think that any of us are that. Why is it so important for people to know that Black immigrants are DACA recipients?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for bringing that up because that's often a point that the media tends not to reflect on, right? Undocumented people come from all across the world. And due to the transatlantic slave trade, there's not anywhere in the world that you will not find people who look like you and me,
Facts.
right? So this idea that Black people are being eliminated from the mainstream immigrant narrative is inherently problematic and anti Black, right? Because folks want to believe that immigrants are just Latinx and more specifically are just coming from Mexico when we know that immigrants come from everywhere. And so for me, as an undocumented and Black woman from Belize, Central America, right? I want folks to understand that immigration in itself is a Black issue as well. And as a matter of fact, Black immigrants are disproportionately impacted by these policies. A few years back, we heard this administration say that we need to keep immigrants coming from countries like Norway and get rid of immigrants coming from places like Haiti, which he described as blank hole countries.
That's right.
Right? So clearly, his positionality pertaining to immigration and pertaining to Blackness is anti-Black. And he wants white folks, but anyone who looks like me or you, he does not want in this country. And that in itself proves that our Black immigrants are disproportionately impacted by these policies. And we're more than likely to be deported than any other population that's being held in detention centers. And I think that's a susceptibility that we need to point out as well.
Now, Danae, speaking of that, what are some of the challenges of being a DACA recipient under a Trump administration?
Well, what that means is every day we simply don't know whether or not we're going to be able to continue to remain in this country, right? Every day our lives are up in the air. And not just that, we're continually used as pawns in a larger narrative to divide our communities. There's 11.5 million undocumented people in the United States of America. Of that 11.5 million, only 700,000 of us are considered to be DACA recipients. And more specifically, as the media refers to us as dreamers. But really, there's an original dreamer, right? The original dreamers are our parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles who really paved the way for us to get access to a program like DACA.
Right.
Now, I have a question. What frightens you the most about the uncertainty of being a DACA recipient? We just talked about the dreamers. I have friends that are dreamers, so this particular subject makes me a little emotional.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, like, what do you fear most about the uncertainty of being here? Because you have to fear at some point.
Well, one of the things, honestly, at this point, I've moved beyond fear. And I'll tell you why. When, like the Black community, we've constantly been on the receiving end of very regressive and oppressive policies. As a Black immigrant woman, the same applies. We've gone through threat after threat from this administration, and at a certain point, you move past fear and you just become frustrated and ready and agitated to fight for change. That's where I am. I'm sick and tired of these threats, and I really want this administration to understand that more than 90% of the American people are in favor of deferred action for childhood arrivals, are in favor of a pathway to citizenship for myself and our undocumented brothers and sisters. And more importantly, we are strengthened in our resolve, right? We're people who continue to fight for ourselves and to fight for the 11.5. We are ready to go. The win from the Supreme Court on Thursday was just step one. We are ready to rise up across the country to fight for what's right. And I completely understand what you're saying to my brothers and sisters who are living in fear. What I'll tell you is you are not alone. We are here to stay.
Definitely here to stay.
Now, Danae, you have definitely been rising. I mean, you've been issued in LA Times, correct? Vogue. Talk to me about that experience. I mean, that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. It definitely is a years in the making thing. This did not happen overnight. For my voice to be centered in conversations pertaining